Hey folks, just chilling on the porch trying to get some air. We got us a new blower wheel out here just the other day. Got it hooked up with some 110 power. So we got a little bit of breeze while we're out here in the shade. Trying to clean our metal up just a little bit. Like I said, we got looks like about 3 coils. This is only my second video on this channel. I just started. Now sometimes you find tools when you're out junking. This box of tools right here, every bit of this stuff is new stuff. You come across more tools junking than you could actually imagine. Hardly have to buy what you need. You just wait long enough, it'll show up. Now, yesterday I had an opportunity to pull a bunch of wire out of a building because the building's going to eventually be demoed. And as goes, most of the time I don't like pulling wire because it's behind sheetrock walls and it does not seem to be worth the trouble. But yesterday, this building I went into was commercial, so it had conduit, the stuff right here. And the conduit is on the outside of the sheetrock, so it's easy to get to. So that made it worth it. So I went through the building. I'm allowed to have anything in there I wanted as far as fixture-wise and things. And I went for the big wire, which is this here. Big as a pencil. Copper wire. That's number 1 wire when it's stripped, or when it's cooked, whichever. But I went to the building and tried to get looks like I got about 80 foot of that stuff. And then I got another grade of number 1 wire, a little smaller here. And that's another 220 that was running in the building. And I got a little bit of brass, a little bit of tin. And I even yanked some breaker boxes off the wall, which is a little bit of a pain in the butt. You got to make sure the power is not on. There is no meter to that box. And you only do it from inside the building. That way there is no possibility of getting shocked. Don't try this at home when it comes to demoing buildings if you don't know what you're doing with the power. But at any rate, these little boxes, took me a while to tear them off the wall, but very much worth it because of the heavy copper. Now, this cord right here was an extension cord, 220. It was at that building. Somebody was using it for like a dryer. Extension cord. It's very heavy, a lot of heavy wire. What I'll do is I'll take that wire, cut these little ends off of it, call them 10 weight, and then I'll run a knife, or have my wife, she'll probably do the knife and run a knife down this cord while it's still warm, and it'll slice right up. And then you pull out the 3 different wires that are in it, the red, white, and the green. Pretty heavy gauge stuff this here. I don't know if you can see that, but at any rate, 15 or 20 pounds of wire right there. That's on average about 30 bucks for number 1 wire. Doesn't look like we got a lot here, but believe it or not, at $1 something a pound for wire, it adds up pretty fast. And all this conduit in the truck, you gotta figure out how to get the wire straight as possible and jerk it out of one end or the other, whichever end is easiest to get it out of. Now, let me go ahead and show you the difference in motors. Now, I know this from just experience, but when you look at an electric motor, you assume it's an electric motor. It's not 10 weight. It pays better on the small scale than it does in the back of the yard. But this has a lot of aluminum on it, and the windings are mostly aluminum. Some of them have all aluminum windings. Some of them have aluminum and copper windings. Some of them have only copper windings. The older the motor, the better chance it's all copper windings. If it's all copper windings, it's considered electric motor weight at this particular scrapyard I go to. Some scrapyards take all electric motors, aluminum or copper windings, as electric motor weight, which is about 3 times 10 weight. See there, this one here has actually got one that's got copper in it. This one here is aluminum. I don't know if you can see the difference. Easy way to tell is you take your pair of cutters, something like this right here, and you just pinch it. This is the trick right here. Okay. Now, aluminum ends up looking like a white. See this here? This is copper. This here is actually an electric motor I could sell on the small scale as is, just like that. Now, if I wanted to get a little more into it, if this is what I was doing for a living full time, I would go ahead and chop this here and here all the way across with a chop saw. Chop all these windings off on one side, and then pull all the other windings out on the other side. I'd shove a screwdriver in there and tap them out. I'll show you that one day on this channel, different ways to break down a motor. But let me show you, just like you seen that one motor had a copper winding. Now look at this here. See the shiny mark I'm making right here? See the shine on that? That is, it shows it's aluminum. This motor's not worth breaking down unless you just want to cut the aluminum weight. But deep in the middle, there's actually copper. So me personally, I don't cut these down. I just try to sell them as electric motor weight. Sometimes I throw them out as tin weight because of the scale. Scale guy's a little picky. But if I was going to do this full time and had plenty of space, I'd throw these motors back till I had about 100 of them. And then it's worth the trouble of taking the chop saw and just going down the line and assembly lining them. Now here's another type of electric motor right here. I can sell it as is, as electric motor weight. It's definitely got copper windings inside of it. It come out of an air conditioner. And I always cut the wires off of these things, get as much wire weight as I can. But you take these 4 bolts out, zip them out with a drill, and this aluminum plate comes off both ends. You got to pop these caps out, which are tin. And you got 2 aluminum plates, and then you got copper windings inside that electric motor that you can actually cut with a chop saw, sawzall, or a grinder, and get those windings out pretty easy. Because they're small, it's not too terrible to pull the windings out. But you wouldn't think so, but there's a dozen different type of electric motors, and some of them will trick you by having copper windings over electric windings. Now this here, if you don't know, is a compressor. One that comes out of a refrigerator, one that comes out of a big condenser unit is like that. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but that's a big one there. That one's actually got about 8 pounds, 7 pounds of copper in it, if I remember right. I've been known to break those down, but it's a mess. You kind of have to be set up for it, and I do that as well sometimes. But about this wire, you got to learn to separate it. And like yanking out these breaker boxes, it was well worth it because this wire here is heavy. What makes it number one is because it's actually a solid strand of copper in there. You can actually bend it and shape. You can actually bend it and shape it. That tells a story. Now you take other wire like this here, kind of rubbery, soft, mostly in your any kind of electronics, anything that's got wires, plug-ins, cord, extension cord, anything's 110 wires, usually got this softer grade of wire. They consider that number 2. And if you don't separate them, they're beating you up at the scale, and that's a fact. But wire like this here, anything usually about as big around as a pencil, I'll go ahead and strip it. This is where you wish you had one of those stripping machines that literally runs down the wire for you. You just feed the wire in one end and it shoots it out the other end with a slice down the plastic coating. Those are nice. Maybe I'll get there at one point. All that banging around, that's my hard-working wife. She's up there on the porch, and she is breaking down some AC coils. I got 3 A coils that come out of a closet unit, and she's in the process of yanking the copper off of them and doing all that stuff. Now, I said you find a lot of tools when you're out junking. You actually find a lot of everything. You find a lot of neat stuff. And I took it as a sign to start my own channel due to some conversations I had with a couple of friends of mine, other podcasters like William Archibald and a few other guys. But while I was cleaning out this building the other day, I come across a ton of tools, a big fan that I still got to go pick up, big shop fan. It's going to be great here in the yard. But I also found a bunch of signs, so I took it as a sign. This one says, service may vary according to your mood and attitude. And then this one here's a mechanic one about your shop rates. And this one here's your no parking signs. Them are always good to have. No parking signs, violators will be towed. And then these 2 are the cool ones right here. See this here? Let me see if I can move this stuff out the way. Let me back up, see if you can see. One's Texas, and one's the Texas Star. Somebody cut them out of iron. Hanging on the wall in this building is fixing the demo. Or get rid of it at any rate. I was told I could have everything there, so I definitely took them. Cool signs. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I'm probably going to hang them on my porch or something somewhere. Too cool to get rid of as far as I'm concerned. But that's one of the neat things about junking, if you don't already know. It's not just about picking up scrap. The treasures you find, the stuff people throw in the trash. Sometimes people's whole lives are on the curb or in a roll-off dumpster. And it's kind of fun doing the treasure hunting part of it. It's hot, it's heavy, it's hard work, it's dirty. Like yesterday, I come home, I had insulation all over me. But it has always been worth it to me. One of these days on this channel, I'll tell you the story of how I actually started junking for the first time, and kind of a crazy story, but I did better junking in 3 hours than I did at my job all day, and I realized, wait a minute, there's an opportunity for me to make some other money, and it wasn't long, and I realized I'd rather work for myself. But at any rate, got lots of signs today, got lots of tools today, got lots of wire today. Just another day doing the junking thing, folks. I just want to let y'all know, my name's Shannon. If you don't know, if you know me from my other channel, Devoted Patriots 2, which is my politics channel that's always getting whack-a-mole, I figured I'd start a YouTubing channel on doing the junk, because I got several junking videos on my other podcast channel, as is anyway, because I like to be able to share my knowledge with people, what little I do know. And I do know junking. I know how to go make a dollar, whether I have to buy the scrap or go chase it, go find out where it's at, talk somebody into letting me tear something out, whatever got to be. I'm going to hunt it down like a junkyard dog. All right, folks, I got to get to work here. Next video, I'll show you how taking this stuff out, not that difficult. It comes right out. You just literally got to start popping these stuff out. These breakers pop out. Once you get them out individually by hand, like that, like this, you start pulling them out individually, and it's easy to get that wire off of them, real easy. You snap them out like plastic. Now right here, folks, before I get out of here, let me let you know, plumbing is the money. If it ain't copper or brass, it's die casting. They all three pay all right as far as I'm concerned. I throw all my brass and my copper in one particular bucket, because I know how to separate the two at the scale at the last minute. But at any rate, don't pass up nothing on the curb if you have opportunity to go find a place to sell it. Whether it be junk, antiques, signs, something somebody can use, even a barbecue grill sometimes I sell around here. Just depends on what I come across. That's it for today, folks. I'm going to turn this camera off and actually get to work. Next video will be a how-to. Come check me out. Like, subscribe, and share. Over and out.